burst of British productions on the theme of empire. Nelson, with Cedric Hardwicke in the title role. The great admiral leaves on the last voyage, which will end in his death and the victory at Trafalgar. Up the Empire, he proclaims, meaning, of course, the British Empire exhibition in London in 1924. This was the great display of unity and resources held to forward empire solidarity and stimulate trade. So grand some of its functions that to turn their handles, many newsreel cameramen appeared in top hats and morning dress. Frequent visitor to the exhibition grounds was the Prince of Wales, that most popular of figures in the 20s. He was often in the studio making screen appeals on behalf of good causes. Those recurring Far Eastern crises, Chinese Red and nationalist armies marching and counter-marching, carrying war from one end of the land to the other. The international settlement at Shanghai, a haven for so many during the strife. Britain, France, the United States and other interested parties rushing troops to the area just in case. The port full of warships of many nations, with guns ready to fire on anyone who might infringe the rights of anybody not Chinese. How much easier if they'd all been allowed to relieve the strain in customary movie style, like the fort at Umballa, over which the flag still flew in. Oh well, the film's name doesn't matter. But one brave charge soon put that situation to rights. Marching into the relieved fortress only to find amid the shambles just one defender left alive, and that one only just. But it was the principle that mattered. And though the situation at Shanghai was admittedly more complex, no doubt even there too, a good scriptwriter might have worked wonders. From China to France, again in the throes of political turmoil, with a fresh government every other month. Here again, the scriptwriter's conception of France was much more stable and reliable. His France was one of expensive cars driven by gay French dogs like Monty Banks, who was Italian by origin anyway. By running over pets and/or children, the plot was led into the proper channels with introductions between married couples, setting another kind of turmoil in motion. Thrust and parry between the sexes in the manner in which the British had always been led to understand that all the French behaved. All this crossing of swords would be interlaced with French maids, who were absolutely true to customary conceptions of the average French domestic. But by and large, in these productions, other ranks were put well and truly in their proper place and kept there. Otherwise, the plot might not have been able to proceed. Visitors to Deauville in the 20s might have gathered the impression that it was rather a staid and respectable place. But not so the Deauville of the silver screen. There it was downright dangerous to cross the road for fear of being run down by lovers driving desperately away from vengeful, irate husbands. This is probably the explanation why the British always believe that the French drive too fast. Without popular British conceptions of general French loose behavior, it is doubtful whether these productions could have survived at all. But to the British, a French woman on the screen or off was ooh la la, oui oui, and that was all. Not like British girls at all. The average English rose, screen variety, was a sort of tomboy, indeed just like Betty Balfour. Warm-hearted and capable of expressing vivacious emotions, yet always knowing just exactly where Mother had advised her to stop, and to a hair's breadth. But then, after all, the world in which he moved was a pretty dangerous place, grossly overpopulated with prowling wolves. A girl just had to be careful. Nevertheless, our tomboy was always seeking to give an impression of being anything but innocent, for otherwise she ran the risk of seeming a bore. Those strange movements are meant to convey loose living. By this, she shocks and disgusts her faithful boyfriend. Why she had to do this was obscure, but it's in the script. Father Gordon Harker, too, is not a little disgruntled by his daughter's apparent risque behavior. The young man seeking to pass, by the way, is Claude Hulbert. Sooner or later, Tomboy's feigned immorality gets her into a twin-bedded cabin with, yes indeed, the champion wolf of the whole pack. At this point, with no escape possible through the porthole, she realizes that she's in a situation that even she might not be able to handle. Yes, a pretty tricky dilemma. But of course, she gets out of it somehow and rejoins her faithful, prepared at last to go just that hair's breadth further. Did the movies reflect life? Well, not all, perhaps. But there were many that did their best.